Hello everyone, dear fans of Citybound. It's time for a New Year's video. I'm in Russia over the holidays and for a couple more days it's minus 22 degrees, but beautiful sun, so the best conditions to create this video. And what I want to talk about is first a review of 2015, all the things that happened, the progresses that were made, what I liked, what I didn't like and so on, and what are the conclusions that I want to draw from that, what are my New Year's resolutions kinda, how do I want to do things differently in 2016. So let's get started. Okay, so what actually happened in 2015? First in my life, at the very beginning, I got married. In summer I moved back to Germany, and in Citybound progress was made in a couple big areas. One of the most important ones is geometry. Of course, Citybound is a very architectural planning kind of game, relies heavily on geometry, even more so because I want to have some very complicated stuff like individual building lots with crazy shapes, curved roads and so on. So it's really important that geometry just works well. And there the biggest achievement was to implement something which I would call tolerant geometry, which can figure out complicated geometric operations even when stuff isn't perfectly aligned, which of course happens very often if you have like player drawn roads or just all the kinds of complicated situations that can arise in a city, and it can handle that pretty well. Another big important thing was that I slowly figured out a way how I want to model not only every individual citizen and their daily life, but also the whole economy and how to manage all of these millions of possible interactions between citizens and companies and so on. This is something that's not implemented yet, but that I thought grew pretty well. What I worked on towards the end of the year is some kind of manual memory management for JavaScript, which will make multi-threading possible. It will make possible to combine different programming languages to implement Citybound, so faster parts can be implemented in a faster programming language and so on, and it makes safe games very easy. For me the biggest achievement though was to invent and implement the first version of planning mode, which is not only the central gameplay element of Citybound, but will really define the game as a whole. What Citybound will all be about is to create plans and watch them succeed and make the city amazing, giving you more opportunities to make it bigger or fail horribly because of finances or other influences. This will be where all the interestingness of Citybound will come from. In general, things that went well with the development were that I always tried to listen as much to the community as possible and to my own gut feeling. This is why I did stuff like starting to open source stuff, and this is why I will do things differently in the future, which I will talk about next. But first, I want to talk about some things that didn't go so well, that I didn't like this year. What didn't go so well was that first I interacted a lot less with the community than I wanted to. Often I didn't find time to upload live streams and so on. I couldn't answer so many questions, but much more importantly, what was missing for me was a clear goal, a clear time frame. Probably the most asked question I always get is like, when will Citybound be done? When will the first alpha be done? And I never had a good answer to that, because most of the last year, and this was also another problem, I actually worked a lot or almost only on background architectural type stuff and not on the gameplay itself. And this is the main thing that I want to change. I want to set concrete goals and have clear time frames, so all the people following Citybound have a much clearer idea of where we are and where we're going. And how I will implement that and what the goals in the beginning will be and how long it will take to reach them will be what I will tell you next. So what I want to do is to now divide the development of Citybound into clear phases, starting with the short preparation phase where I just have to finish now the implementation of shared memory and incorporate that into the game. I actually had a second point there, which was to extract the geometry out of the code, but I already finished that in the past couple days, so the preparation phase should be pretty short. I estimate that it will take roughly 2 weeks. And after that comes the most interesting part. And this most interesting thing I will call Alpha 1. This is the first alpha that will be somewhat released. It will have a very reduced feature set compared to what I initially had in mind for the alpha. And this feature set will be planning mode for roads and zones, random economic growth, like it doesn't follow any kind of demand or something like that, just randomly buildings pop up. The detailed daily lives of citizens, but abstract traits, like you can't see cars going around yet, just people basically being from location to location. But what you can do already is to build a city and watch it grow. And I really want to get this out as soon as possible. My time frame for that is 3 months. This is my estimate. And I will roll it out not to everyone, but only to a select few people first, who I will just choose from the community. And I want to do this for 2 reasons. Because I want to keep the initial feedback manageable, so I don't get the same kind of bug reports or wishes from all people at once, but just a few people who I trust. And secondly, I really want to make sure that these first people who get the game have the right expectations, that they're not disappointed that this first prototype does so little. So that's why I want to give it only to a couple people first, and then slowly widen the range of people who can get it. I will tell you more in detail how this will work once we get that far. First we have to have the prototype, of course, but just to summarize, the first prototype will be very reduced, the first playable thing. For more details, also have a look at the blog post, which I will link in the description, where I will put more details what the features will be. The second alpha, the second prototype, is where I want to add more complexity again. This is where I want to add microscopic traffic simulation and pathfinding again, as well as where I want to start tracking economic interactions on a very detailed level, like this person bought something at this shop, this person is going there with the demand for, I don't know, buying 3 oranges, and we will use this later on to create demand, but for now we're just tracking this information. This stuff in the second prototype can also be stretch goals for the first prototype if I finish it earlier. And the time frame for that I really don't know. I only set a time frame for the first prototype for now. After that will be Alpha 3, which will be all about rounding the game up as a game. This is where I want to make the game fun, where I want the economy to be interesting, which means that the future demand in the economy will be coupled to what happens right now regarding economic interactions in the city, and where I want to make the game look nice by implementing the first version of procedural buildings and plants and so on. All the really complicated stuff like multi-threading, huge cities, 3D terrain and so on will come later. I will also divide the development then into phases, but I don't know yet which phases will make sense. So again, for more details, what will be in which development phase of the game, check out the blog post in the description. It's horribly cold here. I wish all of you a new year. See you all soon when I'm back. I will be back with live streams and everything. I'm looking forward to what you will say about my new plans. So yes, take care. See you all soon. Bye bye.